Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Lyoko Retrospectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 11 of Code Lyoko, Plagued. And Xana gets an army of rats. Not even joking. Xana's latest plan in this episode is to infect an army of rats with his virus, so to speak. I don't know. It's kind of weird again. It's kind of weird, but then again, Xana's been able to possess a suit of armor before, so whatever. Either way, yeah, Xana manages to infect a rat, and through its bite, it manages to infect other rats, and they pretty much just become this giant hive swarm for Xana. In the meantime, our real world plot is that Jeremy is being tested for his pot is being tested for is pretty much is given an IQ test, and if he manages to pass the IQ test, then he'll be transferred to a new school, which will not only take him away from his friends, but will also take him away from his duties at Lyoko, meaning that everyone will be pretty much screwed without him. However, when Jeremy goes to take the test, that's when the rats attack, as the rats chew through the city's wiring and pretty much cause a total blackout. And pretty much cause a total blackout. Pretty much when a bunch of kids were at dinner, were pretty much at a bunch of kids at their school were having dinner at the time, so they end up getting walled up inside the cafeteria as the rats immediately start swarming on there, and Jeremy and his and the guy monitoring doing his psych test, a man named Mr. Simone, are pretty much walled up in the library where Jeremy was taking the test. However, thing pretty much. However, Aelita is able to figure out that Xana is up to something because we see one a few times where she's actually just lounging there, and it's a little weird to see. But she managed to figure out that Xana's up to something, and she's able to locate the tower. However, since Jeremy's in his psych test, he can't communicate with her, and because everyone's just kind of walled off from each other, then they can't go anywhere near. Everyone's just kind of stuck. Well, no, not walled off, sequestered. You know what I mean. You know what I mean? I need to really stop. I really need to sit down and actually know what I'm gonna say. Sorry. But yeah, Jeremy and his psych teacher are stuck in the library. Odd and Ulrich are stuck with Jim and various other students in the cafeteria. Their only way in is Yumi. Their only out is Yumi, whom they manage to call and alert her of the situation, so she comes in and tries helping the group fend off the rats. And by that point, Odd and Ulrich and all the other students have found out how to fend off the rats using fire extinguishers in the cafeteria, allowing them to actually leave the building, but even then, that's a temporary solution. The fire extinguishers will eventually run out, and they're running out of places to hide. As such, Jim suggests they go to the science center, as it's a tall building and there's enough space in there for them to actually hide from these things. So they manage to get into the science center and close the doors and manage to go. And Odd, Ulrich, and Yumi manage to run up to the roof, and upon getting up there, well, actually, all the students run up to the roof, but they manage to jump off the roof using a hose as they need to get to the factory, and in the meantime, Jeremy figures out that the rats that are surrounding the library don't like light, so if you shine something in their face, they'll back off. As such, he manages to take his psych teacher's flashlight and use it, and runs off to the photo lab to get those flashers, I think, some flash cubes or flash sticks, whatever. He comes back and gives one to his psych teacher, who has a rat phobia, and takes a couple himself so he can get to the factory. However, Yumi, Odd, and Orc manage to get there first, though it does take them a little longer since the sewer that he usually uses is infested with rats, and Xana's barricaded the doors with rats. But they manage to get through anyway using an underground hatch, and while Jeremy isn't there yet, Yumi is able to work the supercomputer enough, though by calling Jeremy first, so that she can get Odd and Oric in. Though because she's unfamiliar with the technology, she ends up accidentally teleporting Odd and Oric to a different location, a little further away from the activated tower than they needed to. As to make a run for it, they make a run for the tower, and they eventually run into Aelita, but it turns out she's run into Xana's guards for this episode, as in this case, a couple crabs. They manage to catch up with her and get ready to face the crabs, but at that point, another one of Xana's traps activates as the terrain the terrain they're on starts to get steep until eventually the ground is on its side. They manage to do until pretty much the ground is just kind of pointing them down towards the sea. Aelita manages to materialize in a platform so they don't fall in and die, but pretty much they're still facing off against two crabs that are able to walk on the wall, are pretty much able to walk on, are able to still keep their ground. And as such, while Odd and Ulrich do their best to take out the crabs, with Odd even able to in taking out one, both of them get devirtualized and leaving Aelita defenseless. But by that point, Jeremy managed to get into the lab, so Yumi is able to go in, and she manages to defeat the last crab and get Aelita out of there. At which point she goes to the tower, deactivates it, and all the rats are frozen in time, because that's how things work with Xana, and they turn back time. And the whole subplot with Jeremy having to worry about failing the psych test, because that was their plan from the get-go, is pretty much resolved because Jeremy knows the answer. Jeremy knows which questions they're going to ask, so he knows how to flunk them. The episode's fine. The episode's just alright. There's nothing really. Honestly, the best aspect of it for me is just kind of the rats thing, and that's just mostly because of it's kind of a strength in numbers mentality. As rats, as seeing all these hordes of rats in every which way, acting intelligently because of Xana, and just kind of being out for blood, it is kind of a factor of numbers. Yeah, they're all small, but there's still more of them than there are of you, and pretty much at this point, and pretty much the way they're able to pretty much sequester the kids from each other and just kind of corner them in various areas like the cafeteria, the library, even the science building. Pretty much, it is just sort of mob mentality, and it is pretty creepy seeing them just seeing them all working. Even how Xana possesses the initial rat is creepy, as the rat managed to wander into a cafeteria the rat managed to get into a kitchen near an electrical socket, and Xana managed to come out of that electrical socket and pretty much just held the rat down as it just forced itself, he got his smoke ooze whatever and down its throat. It's actually kind of creepy and just kind of what the F. And even seeing these hordes of rats just kind of being out for blood is just disturbing, and seeing Xana having the forward thinking of having the rats be everywhere the kids would be is nice and smart. It's just that's kind of all there is to the episode. The rest isn't bad, but it's just sort of standard filler stuff. Just kind of having an episode for the sake of having an episode. The stuff with Jeremy and him worrying about passing the IQ test is brought up in the episode, but really means nothing by the end, because thanks to them reversing time, he now knows the questions, and so he knows how to flunk them. And while the tension with the rats is good, it's just kind of the standard stuff that we would expect so far. Because Xana is like I've said, a very competent villain most of the time. So seeing him take advantage of this is nice, and does create a lot of tension as everyone keeps getting cornered in all these various areas. But again, there's just not much to it. It's just kind of the standard stuff we've come to expect so far. Yeah. And I think I think I've mentioned the next complaint. I think I've mentioned before, but I think it bears repeating. Again, another major something that just keeps coming up too is just what keeps the episode being better is just the whole whole reverse time aspect. Again, I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. Because of the time travel aspect, any problems the characters are having in the main plot of the episode really don't mean anything. Unless something major is revealed that affects the characters in some way, or affects how we see another character, like all the stuff with Sissy and what we've seen of her, there's no real development element. The stuff with Jeremy possibly being transferred to another school is brought up and then dropped the instant the rats attack, and then once they reverse time, it's a non-issue now, as they know what's going to happen, and Jeremy knows how to flunk the test. So it really is just padding in every sense of the word. It doesn't really add anything to the story, and it really is not that, and it really just feels like it's there to create a sense of false drama, and it is false drama. It doesn't do anything. These are because the idea of Jeremy being transferred, that would be a big thing. It would be a big thing. It would be It would kind of be interesting, but they don't even. But the fact that Jeremy now knows what to do just to get around it, like there's no effort required. It's like he just cheated the system. He took the test, knows all the questions, and then when they reverse time, okay, so now I know I can prepare myself to fail. That's it. It's just it's a non-issue by the end. It's a non-issue, and it's just kind of annoying. I feel like that. And that's just kind of a consequence of having the return to the past function. Yeah, it's pretty much just a cosmic reset button, but by that same token, it's a cosmic reset button. So, yeah, I can't really think of what else to say about the episode. Again, it's just kind of standard stuff. Just kind of a pretty standard filler episode. I like the rats were creepy. Rats are creepy when they were in a horror, when they were intelligent. It was nice seeing them strategize and just kind of having them be so ruthless and just trying to get these kids. That's nice. So, but I'm trying to think. There's nothing really that big. I'm sorry. There's just not really that much to think about for this episode. It's just kind of standard. Nothing too big is advanced. No major character arcs are revealed, or nothing is continued on. It's just sort of it's just all right. Just standard filler. So I guess another thing I could note is that the kids are more competent than the teachers. Like I said, Jeremy's psych teacher had a rat phobia, so he was next to useless when the rats attacked. And then when Jim sees the rats, he ends up freaking out. And the one teacher that seemed to be most competent is the lunch lady, as she was able to fend them off using cafeteria trays. Otherwise, yeah, the kids are the most competent ones. So it's weird, just kind of weird, I guess. I don't know, but that's pretty much just it. Yeah, all right, episode, just standard filler. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you're able to deal with this crappy as all hell lighting. I really should have put a light on, but thank you for watching. If you actually are able to deal with this, I'm Samuel Johnson, and I hope to see you next week. And if I don't see you next week, then I'm sorry. Sorry. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week, and hopefully you'll see me too. So yeah, bye.